Karolina Pliskova, and before that, US Open champion Naomi Osaka takes on the 6th seed Elena Svitolina of the Ukraine. It's time for the football show.
The Football Show on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by the new and improved Boyle Sports Bet Builder. Now with 44 markets to choose from on every match.
I'm prepared to do anything I can to play for my country again.
Do it then. What about your start to the game?
It wasn't bad, was it?
Why should an honest answer be a mistake?
How can a modern day manager not have a mobile phone?
Why should he?
So, football show this evening. We are busy. We have Julien Laurens joining us on the line to talk about Thierry Henry. Monaco and Nice played out a 1-1 draw last Wednesday. That was Henry versus Patrick Vieira. Henry and Monaco still struggling. They're in 19th position. Cesc Fabregas has just gone from Chelsea, as we know. So we'll check in with Julien Laurens, see what he makes of how Henry is doing. The French media accusing him of being sulky at the moment, Henry. It's very difficult for him. I mean, they have no real cause for optimism. Aside from the fact that the injury list is horrific, it's still in double figures, the injury list. So maybe if they can get some players back. But it's sad, really, what's happened to Monaco. It is a symptom of modern football, Kev. You think back to when they were in the Champions League semi-final.
You and I, all that season, saying, Joel, watch these sides at the start, watch this side, and then it gradually built through that season, and you were hoping that could have stayed together for another season, weren't you? Maybe two.
They really got acid stripped quickly. Jason Burt had a very good piece today in the Telegraph. You'll get it in the Irish Independent too. Relegation unthinkable for a club who won the league in 2017, and they also reached the Champions League semi-finals with a team that included Kylian Mbappe, Bernardo Silva, Fabinho and Benjamin Mendy.
Falcao up front was back in form. It was amazing.
Henry also in trouble for saying to a Strasbourg player, Strasbourg beat them 5-1 at the weekend. Your grandmother's a whore, he said to a player, and it was picked up on camera. So
he's a great fella, though.
Didn't go down well.
Joe, he's a great man.
Well,
what a beautiful human being I think he's been described as.
Would you not be a fan of Thierry? Is that all over the handball thing?
Oh, no. But it's constantly said, isn't it? And it's constantly said about people, these Arsenal players, great human beings. They're all great human beings.
Is that right?
Come on.
Okay.
Honestly.
Okay.
Absolute nonsense.
Okay, nonsense. So, before we get into that, we never touched on Man City at all last night in the football show, partly because I knew you were at the game, so we talked to you this evening. They played Huddersfield. You and Stio were there. Have a listen to the two lads in action.
And it's Danilo having a crack from 20 yards, and it's deflected into the goal. Manchester City take the lead. And it was just about 2 yards outside the Huddersfield town box. Christopher Schindler, the centre half, just got a touch in it to take it away from Lussell. And it's crossed in by Sane, and it's Raheem Sterling with a diving header. Brilliant cross from Leroy Sane. Raheem Sterling comes flying in from the back post, and a diving header sends it into the bottom corner. Manchester City take a 2-0 lead. Heads off down to Leroy Sane. He's got the ball inside the box, and he tucks it away into the bottom left-hand corner. Huddersfield Town 0, Manchester City 3. A brilliant bit of control and a brilliant finish from Leroy Sane.
There we are, 3-0. Only one awe from Kevin Kilbane.
He's flying along, Stephen. He's doing well. Doing very well.
Enjoying it. The two of you honestly look like you've travelled through time every time you turn up outside a stadium.
Yeah, you not got the picture on, have you? You can't show that picture.
No, do we have the picture? No, we'll do it in the we do it in the newsroom tomorrow. Like two buskers who wandered in. Any spare tickets? That
was the one last week. We were at Goodison for the Bournemouth game, Bournemouth last week as well, and we had the pitch taken.
Stadium.
It was like, come on.
Honestly.
It's what can you do? It's a bit of style, Joe,
There's definitely a look going on. So I didn't see much of this game. We were doing the pay-per-view when it was on.
Yeah.
Generally, the word seems to have been that City were a touch sloppy.
Yeah.
Especially in the first half. Didn't pass the ball as well as they usually have.
No,
what did you make of
it? That's exactly how it was, in fairness, Joe. I think I said to you before the game, whenever you turn up to watch City, the one player essentially you're desperately wanting to be playing is De Bruyne. And De Bruyne was a bit sloppy. I thought and it's something Guardiola touched on after the game himself, and I'd mentioned it several times through the game. City were just taking too many touches in midfield. Fernandinho was very sloppy at the weekend. Gundogan very sloppy. Those midfield three players that were playing, Gundogan, De Bruyne and Fernandinho, usually expect so much more from them, and it just didn't quite happen for them. They were quite sloppy. They were quite lethargic, moving the ball too slowly, and that was largely down to the fact is that Huddersfield just literally at times they're actually in their own 18-yard box. Usually you'll see the back four lined up at the width of the 18-yard box. The two wide men were coming back, making a back six. So there's no pressure being put on them. And because of that, I think they just took it for granted. They've got too much time in the ball and didn't move it sharp. And Guardiola said that himself. And second half, they brought David Silva on. And then we saw the real De Bruyne. Those two in particular, second half, you could see them. It's going to be great watching them towards the back end of the season when they get back flowing again. Yeah?
That back six tactic is obviously very understandable when you're playing against Manchester City. But I know from those few recent FA Cup games, you don't like it. You think you have to try and press them in midfield.
I think you have to engage in midfield. Now, bearing in mind, yes, it won. They won the game and it worked for them. They won 3-0. But City have played against that too often now. They know how to break it down. In their head, the mentality is, well, I'll tell you what, if we're not going to score the first half, we will eventually break this system down. Yeah. We will take a chance at some stage. They didn't really create an awful lot in the first half. The goalkeeper, Lörsel, didn't have a lot to do. And the shot, I think, was actually off target from Danilo. I'm not so sure that it was on target. If it was on target, I think Lörsel would have saved it. And Schindler actually, I thought he could have done a bit better. I thought he could have made himself big rather than actually shirk and duck his head into the ball. That's what obviously created the first goal and they got the goal off the back of it. But as you say, that back six, City now know eventually they will break it down.
I wonder, does that contribute to the malaise almost? They're playing the bottom side in the Premiership or the Premier League. The team are going down. They instantly see a formation that's familiar to them. They know they're going to win. It probably, on a very human level, is hard to put massive impetus into your performance.
Yeah,
maybe that's giving them excuses, I don't know. But I can understand why they would look at it and say, oh, here we go.
I can understand it. And, you know, and I think I said it, and I think Stephen was talking about even before the game. It's four games in 9 days now for City, I think before that. So they've got bigger games to play. This Burton game that they've got tomorrow night, it's done. That's done anyway. Yeah. So they can afford to rest a lot of players. So it's about what's ahead of them now. And then after those 4 games, they have, I think it's Arsenal and Chelsea. That is what they have to conserve energy for, essentially. That is when they've got to be right at it, and I'm sure that they will be.
It's 386 minutes now since Firmino scored against Manchester City, and he was the last player to score against them. Yeah. And in that time, they scored 23 goals in all competitions. So, you know, they've been having a good old time. I heard Sane was very good.
Sane was very good. Well, again, first half, what Huddersfield were doing, City predominantly were starting a lot of the attacks down the right-hand side. So Sterling was kind of tucked inside like an inside forward, almost alongside Sergio Aguero at times up front. So there's a lot of intricate play around the right-hand side of the field. And what they were trying to do, essentially, City, they were just keeping Leroy Sane as wide as possible, keep him isolated. So they had a quick switch out to him. So he was trying to get one-on-one with, who was the fullback? It was Smith, Tommy Smith. They were trying to get him isolated one-on-one with Tommy Smith. First half, it only worked a few times. Second half, it just started to click. I wouldn't say City were great, but he was probably the best player, the best attacking player, I think, for City.
And why? I mean, look, it's very hard for anyone to be inside the head of Pep Guardiola. Why, for instance, might he look at the game and say, I'm going to have Sterling tuck in next to Aguero, but I'm going to keep Sane wide? What's the logic in having?
Well, I think Sterling is more of a threat when he is running off the ball now. He started to develop his game, that sort of side of his game. So I think when he does come in off the touchline, I think he's got the ability just to spin off the shoulder of the left-sided centre-half, which was Christopher Schindler for Huddersfield at the weekend. I think he's got that ability to play in between the left-back and the left-side centre-half so he can actually make those penetrating runs. Yeah. Leroy Sane, I think, is better when you get him in one-on-one positions where he can actually go at the full-back.
So it suits their strengths as players. It's funny, actually, Gary Neville a couple of weeks ago on CoCom, in one of the games, did just remark almost to himself as much as anything. He just said in passing, Sterling's movement has become world-class.
Yeah. It's very good. It's noticeable how he's listened to what he said to him on the training ground. Because you and I spoke about it probably 2 years ago. We were talking, the movement's not great. Keeps coming towards the ball constantly, wanting it to his feet. He still has ability, don't get me wrong. Yeah. When he gets his chances, he's not taking them. You're seeing a total different player now. It is world-class movement that he's producing.
It's an amazing... Transformation's too strong, but an amazing improvement. Where's the John Smith Stadium, is that?
John Smith Stadium, yeah.
Where is that in Huddersfield? Is it in the city? Is it in the town, or...?
Just out the town, yeah. Just out the town. It is, yeah.
So is Huddersfield a big place?
No, small town, small Yorkshire town, really. Yeah, I think it was quite a wealthy town. 150 years ago, there was an industry there. I think it was cotton industry. Someone might correct me on that one, but there was an industry that was thriving in West Yorkshire there, and it started to do quite well. Huddersfield starting to get the benefits of that, as is in northern English towns now. They've gone downhill, but it's actually still, you can see the buildings and everything. It's very, as you come off the M62, you've got a really great view right down across Huddersfield, and you see the old stone buildings, the stone built houses. It's really nice, very picturesque.
And is there a mature element of acceptance about their predicament, do you suspect, from fans? Like, I can't think they're there. You know, anytime Newcastle concede a goal, and you look behind the goal, it's always hilarious because you see people losing their shit, no matter what. You know what I mean? It just doesn't matter if they're like, they're 6-0 up and they concede one. It's like,
Have you seen the Sunderland documentary? It's just exactly the same as that. Yeah.
So, I mean, is there an element of Huddersfield fans accepting, look, fair enough, we don't quite have the quality, or is this a stadium that are really grumbling and angry?
No, definitely not grumbling and angry at the weekend. There was a really nice message at half-time from David Wagner, actually, and it was applauded. A lot of the fans were going out for the half-time cups of teas and everything, and they all waited behind, listened to his message that he read out, got a lovely reception, lovely round of applause when it was done. But no, I wouldn't. You can't accept you're going to get relegated, but
it's not an angry atmosphere.
No, it's not. Definitely not. I think
they don't feel. Well, hang on. The first season was a shot to nothing. We survived. It was a bit of a miracle. Over the summer was the time to buy a few strikers and spend that 100 million quid. That atmosphere isn't there.
No, there's not. And even in the second half, you probably would have seen it on Match Today. Joe, it was Mounier picked up the ball in the inside left channel, cut back inside, had a shot. It was off target. But even that was getting, it was a real buzz around it. 3-0 down at the time. Yeah. So there is a feeling that the crowd is still with the team. My only disappointment would be with Huddersfield. Anyone watched them getting promoted was real up-tempo performances, right in people's faces, stopping them. I don't think they've shown that since they've got into the Premier League. I don't think they've really shown, or not shown too many, up-tempo performances, getting the crowd right on side. Because their weapon, if they were ever to stay up, was always going to be home performances, getting the crowd, making it intimidating atmosphere for teams going there. They were always going to fall down on quality, yes. And I don't think they've done that enough, and that's why, ultimately, if they were to go down this season, which is it's highly likely, it'll be because of that, I think, So
that was City responding to Liverpool's 4-3 win over Crystal Palace. Danny Murphy was on Match of the Day, Kev. Yeah. I mean, everybody, look, from the start of the season, everybody said Manchester City effectively. Danny Murphy now, he's starting to think, he's starting to believe.
Today was the day.
Yeah.
I've completely gone in now, I believe. They're going to do it. No, I've been like that, the kind of...
Bit of a test, down at half-time, that kind of thing.
I'm thinking the last minute against Everton, the bit of luck with the deflections today, that things are going Liverpool's way, and they've only got, I say only, Spurs and Chelsea at home, who you'd fancy them to beat, United and Everton away. They're the tricky ones, and I think with City's fixtures and Liverpool's fixtures, Liverpool are strong favourites.
Don't get ahead of yourself.
Kev. We had Pat Nevin on last night. He was at the game.
Yeah.
And I was saying to him that it certainly came through TV. It was the first time I really thought there was this fevered atmosphere, this sense of finishing line coming into sight, akin to the 2014 run under Rodgers. The countdown's on element. And Nevin said, totally, absolutely. And he said he's gone from firmly having had Manchester City as his favourites to now Man City and Liverpool are joint favourites. That's where he's gone to.
That's Pat not really wanting to say that he fancies Liverpool, really. He doesn't really, he can't say it.
Can't bring himself.
But that's probably where he's at.
I can't believe... the start of the season, it was how can Liverpool keep pace, and then at one point they were about to go 10 points down and it flipped around. It was like, the Everton game was obviously crucial. Like, it really does.
What do you think yourself? Do you think...
I couldn't see anything beyond City.
Yeah.
And now I would say I'm very close to saying it's Liverpool.
Yeah.
Joint favourites is about right. I think it's fantastic that we have that unpredictable a title race.
Yeah.
At this stage of the season. Champions League commitments will come into it.
Yes.
Injuries are going to come into it. I think nobody can call this with any certainty.
Yeah. I'm just going to get Liverpool's fixtures up here now.
We did that last night. So they've got Manchester United away.
Yeah, United away.
They've got Everton, which
West Ham away will be tricky enough.
There'll be tricky games there. I'm sure City's...
Yeah, they got Leicester next at home, and then West Ham. I think West Ham will be tricky enough as well. And then it's how you what do they do for the Bayern Munich games? Now, if they went out to Bayern Munich, it's not the end of the world realistically for them, is it? I'd fancy them on current form to beat Bayern. I think they'll beat Bayern, but then you're putting so much energy into winning those games, or you got Bayern Munich at home. All of a sudden, you've got United at the weekend ahead of it. Which is the priority for them? Realistically, which it is now. Ideally, Klopp will always say yes, both of them. I'd probably say United is more of a priority than Bayern Munich, because I think if they get through that United game and the Everton game, as Danny Murphy's touched on there, they are winnable games to the end of the season. Tottenham at home, I suppose, could be tricky. Chelsea at home, but I think get through those away games, particularly the Man United one, the way United are playing. I don't know. I think, well, they are in the driving seat.
Who are your favourites now?
Just seeing, I said it at the weekend. I still feel City because of the quality and the depth within the squad. How are Liverpool going to be without a right back for the next game as well? What's going to happen there? Can Leicester, because Leicester have got a bit of quality, Damari Gray or someone like that, could he exploit a bit of a weakness that they're going to have at right back in that match?
Yeah.
So I'm still only just. It's definitely levelling off a bit.
It really is.
It's definitely levelling off, but I just think City with the quality that they've got can do it. Yeah.
James Milner sent off by his old PE teacher.
Yeah, that was classic. Classic story.
Just magic. Milner.
Yeah, classic.
We're taking a short break. We're talking to Julien Laurens in just a second about Thierry Henry.
Football on Off the Ball.
Brought to you by the new and improved Boyle Sports Bet Builder. Now with 44 markets to choose from on every match.
You couldn't make it up. News Talk's weekly topical panel show where news and comedy collide is recorded in front of a live audience every Thursday evening.
There's me cousin Mick. Oh yeah.
Each week, a host of top Irish funny folk pull apart the stories making the headlines and reassemble them in a pair of surreal and downright silly performances.
There's no Mexicans in China, is there?
For free tickets to the recordings of You Couldn't Make It Up on Thursday evenings in Tramline in Dublin, just go to newstalk.com/events.
Tell them nothing.
You Couldn't Make It Up with Pat O'Mahony
In partnership with Tesco.
on News Talk.
Think workplace safety. Think LCE. Every year, people just like you are killed or seriously injured at work, but no one thinks it's going to happen to them. Make this year safe for you and your colleagues. LCE are a leading provider of health and safety consultancy and training. Every day we help workplaces like yours to be safer and prevent accidents. Think workplace safety. Think LCE. LCE.ie.
Don't miss Vice, the best film of the year.
Hot damn.
The untold story of the most powerful vice president in history.
So what's the plan?
The plan is to take over the place.
Bush approved all of this?
Nope.
It's ferociously funny, and now nominated for 6 BAFTAs, starring Christian Bale, Amy Adams, Steve Carell, Sam Rockwell, and Tyler Perry. Vice, in cinemas Friday, rated 15A.
The all-new Dacia Duster is more rugged, robust, and even better looking. And from €149 per month, it's got the perfect figure too. It's the sort of car you'd swipe right on, the sort of car you'd do the dirt with. And by that I mean take it for a drive, off-road. Light your fire for the all-new Dacia Duster. Visit your local Dacia dealer today. Finance is made under a hire purchase agreement. Terms and conditions apply. Deposit required subject to lending criteria. See dacia.ie.
At Energia, we've always been the power behind bigger savings for small businesses. But want to know the secret to even bigger savings? Come direct to us. Call 1850 363 744 or visit energia.ie/business. Energia, the power behind even bigger savings. Standard terms and conditions apply.
What is your dream holiday? A hike in Peru or a dip in Dubai? How about pancakes in the States or karaoke in Tokyo? Whatever your choice, KLM gets you there. So what are you waiting for? KLM's Dream Deals end on Tuesday the 22nd of January. Check out klm.com and take off from Dublin Airport.
Football Index is reinventing football betting. You can buy and sell the world's top players. Their value may go up and down, but it's not over with the final whistle like a regular bet. Football Index, reinventing football betting.
Start building your portfolio today. at footballindex.co.uk or download the app now. New customers only, minimum deposit and conditions apply. Gamble responsibly.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
Now, welcome along. So we're turning to Ligue 1. Julien Laurens is with us. We are talking predominantly Thierry Henry and Monaco. They drew 1-1 with Nice last Wednesday. Patrick Vieira's Nice. And then at the weekend, they lost 5-1 to Strasbourg, leaving them second from bottom. Your grandmother's a whore, Henry could be spotted shouting at Kenny Lala at one point. I regret it, he said after the game. I'm only human. Julien Laurens, good evening.
Hello, guys.
So, Thierry Henry and Monaco. We talked to Richard Dunn, I'm sure you're very familiar with, a couple of weeks back.
Yeah, of course.
He lives in the area, goes to all the Monaco games. Certainly at that point he was saying, in fairness to Thierry Henry, who has lost 11 times, including 8 of the 12 league matches they've played. He was saying, in fairness to Henry, the injury list is frankly crippling. It's in the double figures. Has that improved somewhat for Henry?
No, the injuries are still pretty heavy. I mean, someone like Jovetic, for example, looks a very talented player who could help this Monaco team. Just came back against Nice for injury, and after 10 minutes on the pitch got injured again. So that kind of stuff, obviously, Thierry can be responsible for. However, unfortunately for him, that's not the only problem. It's not just about the injuries. There's been a lot of other issues, starting by his own coaching as well. And I'm sure he'll be the first one to admit that he's made mistakes since taking over on October the 13th. But it seems that even the new signings are not having the impact that Thierry and a lot of people thought they would have, or at least not immediately. And at the moment, it still looks like a nightmare, really.
Right. What style of football are they trying to play? I know he certainly has a preference for 3 at the back, but the injury list has made that difficult. What kind of football are they trying to play?
So I think, once again, when you've had Pep Guardiola and Arsene Wenger as managers, you know exactly what kind of football you want to play. The problem is, one, you didn't have much time to put his philosophy in place because the games have come thick and fast, and there was not much time for training, for practicing, for putting stuff together. And also, I don't think he really had the players that he needed or wanted to play the kind of football with a lot of movement, with a lot of verticality, with a lot of short passes, and with a lot of movement that he wanted to implement to his team. So it's been really hard. I think he underestimated a bit how hard it would be. I think he thought maybe it would be a bit easier because he's Thierry Henry and everything has come so easy for him through his life. I just thought he was maybe thinking, I'm going to make this run work. I can have new players in January, but I can also do a lot with the younger players who are very good at the Monaco Academy. I can do this, I can do that. And actually it turned out like it's far harder than I think he thought it would be.
Yeah, do you know, in relation to the team, you still look. There's still a lot of quality, even with the injury list that they've got within the side at the moment that's playing, Julien. So, Joel just asked the question there about what he's trying to implement there style-wise. He brought Fabregas in. I think we have all accepted now. Fabregas's legs, certainly for a high pressurised game, certainly wouldn't be up to that sort of style. But watching Monaco over the years and see the high press that they've played, you spoke about the youth. You've had so much youth in the side that's been able to really go and press teams and get right at them. It doesn't seem to me, watching them, they have that sort of element to the game. Whereas, if you watch French football, there is a lot of sides that are actually adopting a high press game now.
Yeah, you're right, and I think it's not really clear where they're playing, how they play. He plays 5 at the back, then he plays 4 at the back, then he plays 5 at the back again. He wanted Fabregas to control the midfield. That's what he always said. He said, we don't have that player in midfield that can control the game and control the pace of the game for us. So Fabregas, for that level, I agree with you, Kev. I think the legs have gone. But in terms of the intelligence and the way he can control the game with his long-range passes and the short passes and all of that, I think he can still do that. And we saw that against Marseille in his first game. I think he will be able to do that. For the rest, I'm not sure the younger players are ready for a high press. I'm not sure the team as a unit is ready for that. And I'm not sure Thierry has managed to make those players play as a unit to then be able to press high and to have like little triangles, to have movement, to have overlaps. We rarely see any overlaps. We rarely see, triangle with one-touch passes. none of that yet, and that's probably one of the reasons why they're struggling so much as well.
Yeah, how's he in relation to the comments that Joel spoke about into Kenny Lala? How's he coming across in the press as well, Julian?
He got slaughtered, and rightly so. It was one of those where it was not directly a Lala, but it's one of those sentences that you say, and he said afterwards, it's a street sentence, which is right, that you say towards someone, but not directly as someone. And I think he realized very quickly that he was wrong, and then he tried to justify himself at the end, saying, like, sometimes that's even worse than that, but it's in English, so no one understands. That doesn't make it right. It's not because you say in English in France and that no one understands that makes it right. And then he's trying to say, I'm human. Everyone is human, but not many managers do that either. And I think, you know what, the heart of the problem for me is he still thinks that he's above other people, and he still behaves like he's either a player or a pundit, but not really like a manager. And for me, what he said to Kenny Lala was very much what a player can say to another player in the heat of a game. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
You've lost a challenge, you get up, or you got kicked, you get up, and you sort of say that kind of insult. Not when you're a manager. That doesn't work anymore. He has to change his attitude, the way he behaves, his body language is wrong. And I'm just not sure he's made the switch from a pundit mode or a former player mode or even a player mode, because sometimes he looks like he's one of the boys, to a manager mode. And I think until he does that, I'm not sure he'd be very clear on where he's going.
You used the phrase there, above other people, Julian. Is Henry considered arrogant in French football?
Yeah, but he's always been. You remember obviously the handball against you guys. He always felt like.
When was that? Sorry, remind me. What was that?
I was in stadium, but I didn't see anything. I promise. But he always felt like, I was not defended enough by the French. You let me down. You were not behind me enough. Well, why would we? You cheated. It's as simple as that. You could have been anyone. He was wrong, and he always had that feeling of like, because he was Thierry Henry, because he was this, because he was that, people always had to go, in his way, always back him up, always go towards what he wanted, always go along with everything he was doing or everything he was saying. And I still think that he thinks that now. I mean, there was a scene for me that there's a lot. It was maybe a month after he arrived, and every time for a press conference, he used to come in with a sheet of paper with all the players injured on it, and he would tell us all, okay, so this week, Ronnie Lopez is injured, Juventus is injured, Falcao is injured, and he was naming all the players. And then one day he thought that we were basically saying that he was justifying the poor form of his team by the injuries, and that was his excuse. And the journalists who were there were saying, like, well, you told us every week, this is all my players injured, that's why I can't win games, that's why I can't play well, because I've got all those players. And so he wanted to use that as an excuse, but when it was too much, he was not happy anymore, and he would have an argument with everyone who wanted to have an argument with him. And I just think that's all counterproductive.
Right. We were just getting nostalgic, even though it's not that long ago, about the 2017 semi-final team and league-winning team with Mbappe and Bernardo Silva and Mendy and others. Surely they can't get relegated 2 years later. Will they get out of this?
I think so. I still think there's, like Kevin said, there's enough talent in there. I'm not sure Thierry is the right manager, but even with Thierry as the wrong manager there, they should be able to get out there. But he will be a very, very high pressure end of the season with a lot of anxiety for the fans, for the club. There's a lot of uncertainties around the owner, Dimitri Bolovlev, who has a lot of problem with the justice in Monaco. The prince, obviously, of the principality, who probably wants another owner. So there's a lot of things going on there, and it would be a disaster if they went down. I still think that they would manage somehow to stay up.
There's no sense that he will lose his job in the next while, is there, Julian?
I don't think so. They've been briefing us that he was there for the long run, even if they go down, if they go down, Fabregas would stay, bring them back up. All of that we've heard. So I think they would keep him, but it's a tricky one, and that maybe a lot of people at the club realize that maybe he was not the right guy to go for at that time, because Jardim, okay, was not working under him, but it was more than manager the problem, and I think they're starting to realize that.
You mentioned there the Prince may want another owner, so Prince Albert and the owner being Dmitry Robolev What influence does the Prince have over the football team, the running of the football team?
I mean, the Prince was the one who chose Rybolovlev, who's been living in Monaco, but wanted badly a passport that he hasn't got, to be fair. So it looked like they were the best of friends. Now it looks like things are more difficult because of the problem of Rybolovlev with the justice, because of what's going on with him, in terms of court and being sued and all of that. So I think right now the Prince and people at the Principality would rather probably Dimitri Rybolovlev to be as far as possible from the club. It's not. He owns it, and he owns it fully. He bought it for €1. So it's a tricky one that again, I don't think has a direct impact on the players. The players are far removed from that, but still has some sort of impact negatively over the club.
Julian, just before we let you go, just wanted to ask you on the upcoming Champions League game. Of course, Man United playing PSG. PSG winners 9-0 at the weekend. What's the feeling around the side? Of course, I think Mbappe scored 4 at the weekend. So are they relishing going to Old Trafford? Are they relishing the challenge, particularly with the way that it's going for United at the moment?
No, yeah, they were. Everything was so positive until Saturday and the injury of Marco Verratti, who would be a huge blow. I mean, he has he strained his ankle, which is not so bad. The ligaments haven't been damaged, so they're hoping that he will be okay for the first leg on February the 12th to go to Old Trafford, because with him and without him, it's two different teams. However, the momentum is huge, the dynamic and the way Tuchel has been, the team has been playing, and the Tuchel so far since the Liverpool defeat at Anfield has been pretty impressive. And I think they'll be there full of confidence and full of momentum, but Verratti has to be there and has to be fit, or so fit, for them to be really confident that they can knock United out.
Julian, thanks so much. Pleasure as always.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Julian.
Thanks. Julian Laurens there on the line. Back in 1 second.
Hi, I'm Mick McCarthy, and I'm second generation Irish and very proud of it. Are you ready for a bit of verbal sparring, eh? What you got for me this morning? What pile of have you got for me this morning? I answer questions on anything, religious, politics, health, sexual problems. And if I haven't experienced them, I know somebody who has. So, Some people might think that's 2 points dropped, and I say some people can f*** off. Yeah, but I don't give a flying about and slaughtering. I've told you before. Did not. It's like, if anybody's not happy, write to me at goandgetyourselffettled.com. Have you come in the red suit and the white beard today, or what? Shall I come and sit on your lap and ask? Does your father know I'll bet?
I haven't told him yet.
I just wonder, do you? Sorry, the keeper's a big tart doing that, because there's nothing wrong with it. I said, are you the physio? He said, no, I am the head of medicine technique. Oh, and I said to him, how wide's your door? Can you just put physiotherapist on it like everybody else used to do? And like I say, if I've lost anything, any friends, then they're lost, believe me. I am pleased on that, and I'm pleased I came off tonight, and I'm pleased I was angry, and I'm pleased I shed a few tears, and I'm pleased I kicked that coffee pot across the room. And I'm pleased I feel like I do now, because I know the old feeling's still there. And when that goes, then if that feeling goes, I'll pack it in.
Are you interested in working in America? Are you in your final year, or did you recently graduate from college? Grow your international experience with the Use It 1-Year Graduate Work USA program. Now in the final year of the pilot program, 2019 could be your last chance to do the Use It Grad Visa. Book on useit.ie.
This 200-page report for your board meeting was printed using a branded ink cartridge. And this 200-page report was printed using a high-grade ink cartridge from inkjet.ie. What's the difference? Oh, about €15. Get quality ink cartridges from just €2 and fast delivery at inkjet.ie.
So, we've a broken window to fix.
Yeah, a football incident.
You need to improve your skills, young man.
But I didn't break the window.
Sure you did. Kids, eh?
In the real world, accidents happen. At Liberty Insurance, we get that. That's why all our buildings and contents policies come with emergency home repair, a 24-hour service that doesn't affect your no-claims bonus. Get our best quote online at libertyinsurance.ie. Liberty Insurance, ready for the real world. Cover for up to €260 per call-out, max 4 call-outs per year. Acceptance criteria, terms and conditions apply. Liberty Seguros, Companhia de Seguros, Araya Seguros, S.A.A. Trading as Liberty Insurance is authorised by the General Directorate of Insurance and Pension Funds in Spain and is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland for conduct of business rules.
Just born and already a winner. The all-new Peugeot Partner is the International Van of the Year 2019. With up to 1,000 kg payload, the Partner is available with an array of impressive safety features, like surround rear vision, designed to eliminate blind spots. It's also the very first van with Peugeot's unique iCockpit interior. Test drive the all-new Partner at your nearest Peugeot dealer today. See Peugeot.ie for details.
January. It may feel dull and dreary. It may feel like ages till payday. But at least the January sale is on at appliancesdelivered.ie. And if it's bargains you're after, it's bargains you'll get. With up to 15% off TVs, 25% off washing machines, 25% off refrigeration, and up to 30% off dishwashers. Make January great again, at least for a few hours. And check out our health and wellness range. The January sale, now on at appliancesdelivered.ie.
Football Index is reinventing football betting. You can buy and sell the world's top players. Their value may go up and down, but it's not over with the final whistle like a regular bet. Football Index, reinventing football betting.
Start building your portfolio today at footballindex.co.uk or download the app now. New customers only, minimum deposit and conditions apply. Gamble responsibly.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
Now then, welcome back. So, Kev, I know you want to talk about Marcus Rashford. Just on the Manchester United theme for a second. There is a good interview in The Guardian, I don't know if you've read it yet, Simon Hattenstone in the health and well-being section. Rio Ferdinand, I used to drink 10 pints and then move on to vodka, is the kind of headline grabber. And he talks about back in the day at West Ham, especially just drinking loads. And, you know, it was of an era. Fine.
Yeah.
That's not the most interesting thing about the piece. It's just actually a really funny piece to read. So Ferdinand at this stage has moved into promoting, and I think probably it seems investing in a DNA kit. And the claim is, even though as the journalist Simon Hattenstone says, there's not too much scientific support behind this, but the claim is that you can take this DNA kit, costs you £100, and you can take a swab of your saliva and it will tell you from a nutrition point of view what you're missing. Which, you know, if it works, that would be quite useful. So, you know, Ferdinand's talking about it, and he's now 2 stone and 7 pounds heavier than he was as a player. He's 16 stone now.
Yeah, he's massive though. Ferdinand's massive, you know.
Yeah, he's a big fella, yeah. So he talks about how when he was a player, you could see the fibres in my body when I was walking about. I was so lean. First thing I wanted to do after football was bulk up. And so he's talking about that. And this DNA Fit is what it's called, a Nutri-Genetics company. They've created a simple saliva swab, and they say it'll transform lives. Nutri-Genetics is an emerging and as yet largely unproven science that studies the interaction between genes and nutrition with the hope of preventing disease. So he talks about being in a small claustrophobic office near London Bridge. Ferdinand there with an immaculately trimmed beard, long, languid, tanned. So suddenly, he says the room is quite small, and then we're joined by, this is Avi, says the publicist. He's here to explain all the technical stuff. And the journalist says, it suddenly feels as if I've been interview bombed. And Avi is a 43-year-old entrepreneur, and he's behind this. He's going to explain all the benefits anyway. So Ferdinand's talking away, and he's reaped the benefits since he was tested. Now, look, I don't know. He says, I wanted to gain weight, gain muscle, and retain it, but I hit a ceiling. So what did he discover? I was eating huge carbs and not enough protein. So he's now 15 stone 13. He was 13 stone 5 as a player. The journalist says, I'm no expert, but surely you don't need a DNA test to tell you more protein, lifting weights will help. Anyway, we don't know. Many scientists, he says, believe we simply don't know enough about nutrigenetics for companies such as DNA Fit to deliver on its promise. But it's funny because from then on, the interview just becomes like a back and forth or a to and fro between this guy Avi and the journalist. The journalist wants to talk a little bit about Rio Ferdinand now, you know?
Yeah.
So the high water mark is where he's talking here. Sorry, I didn't know I was going to talk about this. Oh yeah, okay. This is the bit. So they're chatting away, and look, Ferdinand's very genuine about this and believes in it. So could well be right. I'm not an expert. I don't know. I'm just giving you the journalist's interpretation. And he talks about one of the reasons that he wants to support this is because obviously he's lost his wife, and he wants everyone to be healthier. So it's fair enough. I'm sure his intentions are good. So at the same time, the journalist has talked for a long segment about the genetics thing. And he writes then, Ferdinand also campaigned for the UK to remain in Europe. How does he feel about Brexit now? I don't know, man. Theresa May needs a new deal. This guy, Avi, who's been there, jumps in. He says, but the great thing about genetics is that you can do it anywhere, Brexit or no Brexit. At which point the journalist goes, wow. That is the most random intervention I've ever heard, Avi. Even Ferdinand's agents can't help laughing at his attempt to steer the conversation back to DNA. He says, look, we've talked enough about DNA. I would like to talk to Rio about Rio. It's worth a read anyway, so that's what Rio's up to.
Yeah, I'll actually get that. I'll get that.
It's good just for that. The journalists have done a good job on, they were putting the big sell on.
Yeah.
Brexit, no Brexit, you can do it anywhere.
You can do it, yeah. DNA testing, there you go. Brilliant.
So, Marcus Rashford then. This is getting quite exciting. He's had his best Premier League season already, still 15 games to go.
Yeah.
And
he's had his best month. That's the thing. I think, since just over a month now, since December 8th, he's scored, well, if you even look back a little bit further, but certainly since he scored 7 goals since December the 8th. A number of assists as well during that spell. And
that was the one. He's gone from... previously, he was averaging either a goal or an assist every 140, 50-odd minutes. He's now coming in with a goal or an assist in the last, under Solskjaer, every 88 minutes. Every game, he's basically involved in a goal.
Yeah.
So what are you seeing?
Certainly, without stating the obvious, unbelievably confident now, prepared to try things. I think he's trying things a lot more than I probably would have seen him in the past. I think he's prepared to take more shots on. I think his striking of the ball has become a lot more confident as well. That's largely down to the fact is that he's obviously scoring. Of course, that is you're stating the obvious with that, but just he looks to me like, which I'm sure Solskjaer has told him to do, knowing himself as a striker, has just said to him, look, you go out, you play, we are going to do everything through you. Everything that we're going to come up through, you're going to have team build through you. You get yourself in positions in wider areas if you want. But when you're getting inside left, inside right channels, take your strikes on, get your shots at goal constantly. Now, at the weekend, he had a lot of shots at goal at the weekend, a lot of them without success. But the goal was just brilliant. If there was a corner taken about 10 minutes before he scored the goal, very similar position where he picked the ball up. It was a short corner that was taken to him. So he did a similar sort of movement where he tried to open his body out and bend it into the top corner. It just went wide of the post. Did the same thing. It's almost as if he knew what he'd done previous, why he'd gone wrong. Took it out of his feet. This time he hit it with pace. And the technique that he gets on the ball, you see the way that he hits the ball anyway, he seems to get that little bit of dip on the ball. So it's incredible how he hits the ball.
The Juninho free kick about it at times.
Yeah, it's great how he hits the ball.
It's going on his stiff footing it.
I'd like to see that in slow motion, actually. I'd like to see him hit that, because you rarely get to see free kick takers hitting balls in slow motion. Yeah. And he's not had a lot of success when he's been hitting balls, to be fair, hitting free kicks and dead balls over the last while. But the goal in particular, he just checked it onto his right foot, hit it with technique, and it was almost as if he knew what had gone wrong before, and now he's
adjusted.
Everything that he's doing is perfect. I think his build-up play, he's been perfect. Your link-up play, getting in wide positions to go and beat a player, he's been perfect. His game just seems to have just gone on to the next level in the last 6-8 weeks.
Remember, he burst on the scene and was extraordinary.
Yeah.
And then Mourinho got his claws into him.
Yeah.
At this point, you have to say is a fair enough analysis. Mourinho was turning around to the crowd and gesturing when he missed a chance not so long ago.
I know.
Could you imagine doing that to a teenager?
I know.
It was a shocking
Of course, Rashford won't see it, But you know full well he's hearing that straight after the game. What about your manager when he
it was the talk for a week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's getting that constant in his ear, knowing full well that his manager thinks he's a bit weak, doesn't really fancy him. And Mourinho constantly harped on about the fact is that he played in every game since he's taken over, didn't he? He's played at some point, whether it's come off the bench or started, every single game I've been manager. But clearly, the message to Rashford wasn't the message that was needed for him to tick over.
I was actually starting to lose a bit of faith in Rashford. There was a few.
And you know what
games,
I thought about him?
Yeah, amazing. There were a few games in Europe where he missed a chance or two, tried to dink it over the keeper.
Yeah.
He had a few iffy games, and I was starting to think, maybe he actually isn't all that. You know, he was so good at the start and a bit of beginner's luck and just, trying everything without thinking. But now that he's settled down, maybe there was more hype than actual what has the ability to deliver. And I really was this season thinking, it's not quite what we thought. And now...
Yeah. Well, I think we both spoke about the difference between him and Sterling, where they are. I know Sterling's a couple of years ahead in age over Rashford, but looking at them 2 years ago, they were on a level, on a par. Sterling took his game onto the new level under Guardiola, and in fairness, you're right in saying it, he's probably gone backwards, Rashford. But I've constantly said, technically and everything, I think Rashford's a way better footballer. I think he's got much more to his game than Sterling. Sterling, brilliant, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And I think he's got the ability now to take his game onto the next level. You're not necessarily talking Kylian Mbappe level here for a young footballer, but certainly somewhere near that level. He's got the ability to do that, definitely.
Are we giving Solskjaer the job yet?
I don't know. You speak to United fans on that one, isn't it? What's the message from the United fans that you know?
It's too soon.
If he keeps going...
Well, if he keeps going, he hasn't lost a game.
If he keeps going, exactly. What can you do?
He'll win the Champions League if he keeps going.
Exactly. But what if he does that?
Oh, well, if he wins the Champions League, we'll give him the job.
But Roberto Di Matteo did it, didn't he? He won the Champions League. Similar sort of scenario.
It's Chelsea. Don't talk to us about Chelsea, Kev.
Yeah. But he's put himself in the frame now, hasn't he? Of course he has. He has to. I think it's just he's got on the level of the players. He's got into the heads.
PSG and Liverpool will be crucial.
Yeah.
We're pretty much out of time. Just to give you a reminder about our Bulmers Road to Gold event, it's on in Clonmel, 1st of February. We're building up to the Gold Cup, a number of special off-air shows across February and March. And on the 1st, there'll be après-matches Barry Murphy there, David Brady will be there, Johnny Ward, Vogue Williams, and we'll have some horse racing royalty as well, including Katie Harrington. And as we said, it is an off-air event only, so the only way to be there and enjoy it is to get tickets. offtheball.com/events now, and bear in mind you must be over 18 years of age, so offtheball.com/events. It's the Bulmers Road to Gold event in Clonmel Park Hotel on February the 1st if you want to get involved there. OTBAM is back tomorrow at 7:45, Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. We've got a busy show as well. We've got Wednesday Night Rugby. Myself and Kev will be back, and Kev, I'm sure you're very happy to hear Tom Dunn is back.
Yeah.
He's on the way next.
Richie's been great, don't get me wrong, but great to see him back.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Yeah. So Tom Dunn on the way.